Have you ever just stopped and wondered what gives something its real value? Or, for that matter, what gives us our real value? It's a question we all wrestle with. What's our purpose? Where do we fit in? Well, our source material has this fantastic way of looking at it, using a super simple but really profound analogy. Let's dive in. Okay, so it all kicks off with this question. I want you to picture this. A single screw, just lying there on a workbench or in a toolbox. What's it really worth? On its own, it feels pretty useless, right? Kind of insignificant. But trust me, this little screw, it's about to unlock a huge idea. So let's look at this screw in two different states. On one hand, when it's disconnected, it doesn't really have a purpose, does it? Its value is, well, it's basically lost. But the second you take that screw and put it where it belongs, into a machine, bam, everything changes. Suddenly, it has a job, it has a function. Its value is totally realized because now it's part of something much bigger. All right, so obviously we're not just talking about hardware here. Let's translate this analogy. The source material explains that the screw, that represents the individual soul, the jiva. And that big machine it connects to, well, that's the supreme whole, the entire cosmic system that we are all meant to be a part of. So this word, jiva, it literally means the living entity, the individual soul. And according to this teaching, being a part of that supreme whole isn't just a nice idea. It's our constitutional nature. It's what we are. We're literally designed to fit into that system, just like that screw is designed for a specific hole in the machine. And here's where it gets really relatable, right? Think about it. When the soul, the jiva, feels disconnected from its proper place, what do? We start searching for value everywhere else. We try to find it in our job titles, our relationships, the stuff we own. But the source material makes a really sharp point. All of that stuff is temporary. And that's why, no matter how much we achieve or acquire, there can be this nagging feeling that something is missing, a sense of incompleteness. Which brings us to the absolute heart of the matter, and this quote just nails it. It says that our perfection, our true fulfillment, isn't something we find by being on our own. No way. It's found when we, the part, consciously connect with and serve the whole that we actually belong to. Okay, so if connection is the answer, the obvious next question is, how? How do we actually make that connection? And you guessed it, the source material has another fantastic analogy to explain the how. This one is all about a key and a lock. It's a great way to picture the mechanics of it all. So the individual soul, our jiva, is the key. And the lock? That's the Supreme Lord, Sri Kṛṣṇa. But think about it. You can't just bump a key against a lock and expect it to open. It has to go into the keyhole, right? And that keyhole, that represents the specific method of connection. And that keyhole, that specific method, has a name, bhakti. And this is super important. It's not just any random path you can make up on your own. The source is very clear that it's an authorized process of devotional service. It involves specific practices, like hearing and chanting, that are designed to be the perfect fit, the key sliding perfectly into the lock. So now the whole process is laid out for us. You've got the key, that's us, the soul. You've got the lock, that's the supreme. And you have the one way to connect them, the keyhole, which is the path of bhakti. Everything is unlocked, so to speak, when that key engages the lock through the right mechanism. It's not random. It's a very deliberate, very precise process. And this brings up a really subtle but crucial point, the difference between our identity and our value. See, our identity, who we are at our core, an eternal part of the whole, that never changes. It's constant. But our value, that's about how that identity becomes meaningful. And the texts say that only happens when it's put into action, when it's expressed through that conscious, active connection. So let's just pull all of this together. A screw lying on the floor is just a piece of metal. A key without its matching lock is just a useless bit of brass. The point is, in exactly the same way, the soul only finds its true purpose, its real fulfillment, when it's actively and lovingly connected to its source. That's the whole ballgame. So what's the big takeaway here? It's pretty profound, actually. It's that real completeness, that deep satisfaction we're all looking for, isn't found in trying to be totally independent. It's found in the exact opposite, in finding our proper place and plugging into that meaningful connection. And when we make that connection, it's not just some abstract idea or a nice feeling. The source material says it literally restores three core things inside of us. It restores our true identity, it restores our real purpose, and it restores our lasting value. It puts everything back in its right place. And that leaves us with a pretty big question to think about, doesn't it? If all of our fulfillment and perfection really does lie in connection, then it forces us to ask ourselves, where is my place? And maybe more importantly, how do I start to turn my key in the lock?